I would like to start this tirade by underlining that what I mean by modern gaming is not just the double, triple or whatever A releases. It's all. Everything that gets released today. And this leads me to this video's main statement. Gaming is not dead, or dying, or on its way out in any sense of the word. It's changing. Well, partly changing. But what do I mean by this admittedly enigmatic statement? Well, for a long time now we can see a similar idea being spread around in the court of public opinion. This being that due to the horrible quality slop released by the giants of the gaming industry, games have kinda become the thing that your dad thinks games are. This argument is often supported by pointing out the horrible exploitation that goes around in almost every corporate gaming giant like Blizzard or EA. That also prohibits most artistic expression that used to go into these products. And while I acknowledge and sympathize with this statement, I can also recognize that the rotting state in which the mainline IPs of most gaming giants have found themselves in does not define the entirety of the gaming landscape. Well, of course it doesn't. There is a market for indie games that often gather a very loyal following around themselves. Look at Dead Cells, Balatro or Vampire Survivors. Those games are absolutely thriving. And let's not forget about the ones that are no longer being worked on, and despite that fact, they still have generally stable player bases, like Lisa the Painful, One Shot or Undertale. The biggest gripe that I personally have with the indie section of the gaming supermarket is that some baller games get little to no recognition. And there is a reason for that. In 2018, when Celeste was released, it had what I like to call breathing room. It wasn't flooded with tremendous competition, and so it was able to claim the proper recognition it deserved, alongside with, being a good game. Back in 2018, there was 8,142 indie games released on Steam. A huge number, but it doesn't look so grand in comparison to the numbers of 2023, where there was 13,790 indie games released on Steam, while the number of AAA games decreased by a whopping 1. What this means is that we might have crossed the border of healthy competition and entered a bit of a Hunger Games situation, where the time that people dedicate to gaming stays the same, but the amount of games rise, and they are all competing for our wallets and attention. For an average Joe Schmo, this situation might even be beneficial. What he gets is generally increasingly better games. But what saddens me is the lack of recognition that goes into projects that people have worked hard for, not counting the fact that even popular indie games tend to steal each other's spotlight. One day it's all about Pizza Tower, and the other the world switches to Balatro, while nobody might have even heard about my classics like Cards or Loop Hero. A lot of you might think, well, it's kind of a bummer and all, but if the game was really good, I would have heard about it regardless of the competition. And unfortunately, due to how games are advertised and due to how communities form around games, some objectively stellar ones get left in the dust, so to say. To prove this, I would like to ask you, do you know the game There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension? A 2020 hit that collected 5 different awards like the Pegasus 2021 for Best Game Design or the Pocket Gamer Awards 2021 for Best Game Narrative. A game
that the big three of YouTube, PewDiePie, Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, made their own videos about. A game with overwhelmingly positive reviews, since, well, forever. Yeah. It fell and plateaued to around 100 players worldwide and slowly falling.
And you know what? It's normal for games to stop being played at some point and all, but the part that really grinds my gears is the fact that known and spudded slop like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 that never got anything past a meh from anybody is overwhelmingly negative on Steam still gets players in the thousands. Also, another big deal, there is no game made $11 million throughout its lifespan. Cool, good for them. While on the other hand, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 crossed this benchmark in the first week easily, and a reminder, nobody likes the game. Unfortunately, this is something widespread nowadays. People gravitate and sink their money into franchises that are familiar. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is a remake of a 2011 game that is actually beloved. Unfortunately and fortunately, people have hope, and they want to see their favorite IPs represented properly, and so they keep gambling at the EA, Activision or Bethesda slot machine with little to no returns. But staying on the topic of this video, just because a subpar product gets released and achieves success does not invalidate the attributes of another. We can all recognize that one game just kind of seems better, and we, excluding masochists, want to play good games. This is reflected in the Steam revenue charts. In 2024, indie games accounted for a little over 30% of Steam's revenue, while in 2018 it was around 25%. This number seems small, but let's not forget that indie games are often published to the sites like itch.io or GameJolt. So, broadly speaking, indie games are overall gaining in popularity. This phenomena is aided by the fact that after a successful game, indie game studios tend to release second parts, like Slay the Spire 2 or Hades 2. And in contrast to the story-chugging companies, the indie devs refine and elaborate on the mechanics and story of a given franchise, instead of milking it for cash, which often kills it. Another win for indie games is the probable prospect of getting played by a streamer. Popular internet personalities will tremendously boost the popularity of a given game by showing it off in front of their fans. This will also give the developer a big money boost to reinvest in the game with a DLC or with just updates. DLCs are yet another area where indie games reign superior in opposition to AAA games. Vampire Survivors is a title that I personally have a lot of experience with, and it is coincidentally a game that does its DLCs masterfully. It does it by expanding the game with not only what a lot of people already wanted, like large character selection or new weapons, but also by adding new and exciting things like the Among Us crossover. AAA games tend to make DLCs with little to no content, or with a normal amount of mediocre content in order to piggyback of a successful game. Look at the previously mentioned Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which is filled to the brim with DLCs that add nothing other than character and weapon skins. Or look at Tidy Tina's Wonderland that, while the game is generally okay, it has atrocious DLCs with 10 or less minutes of general playtime, according to Reddit. But I don't think we should do what I was doing and compare indie games to AAA or AA games. I know that it's very tempting to do so and to get angry at the state of the landscape, but we need to remember that what companies care about is our attention. and our wallets. The best thing we can do to help the landscape heal is to stop playing their games, stop giving them money, and to celebrate the good that even they can make. Because yes, giants can still make good games. Look at Fallout New Vegas and remember, they can do it again if they see it as profitable. I would like to give a big thank you to all the guys, gayettes and everyone in between for listening to me rambling about video games. And I would also like to encourage you to, if you want, ask me any questions about the topic in the comment section. Also, your own input and experiences are also very welcome. Along with this, maybe a like or a sub for a starting YouTuber in need. It's gonna look real good on you when I inevitably blow up. But for now, alas, with all this out of the way, bye bye.